Whether you're a cyclist or a motorcycle rider, having a speedometer is always a handy tool. But can you use a bicycle speedometer on a motorcycle? In this video, we'll take a look at the similarities and differences between the two types of speedometers and find out if they're interchangeable. We'll also offer some tips on choosing the right type of speedometer for your needs. So whether you're just curious or in the market for a new speedometer, read on. What is a bicycle speedometer and how does it work? A bicycle speedometer is a device that measures the speed at which a bike is traveling. It does this by counting the number of rotations of the wheel over a given period of time. Bicycle speedometers are usually small, battery-powered devices that attach to the handlebars or frame of the bike. How does a motorcycle speedometer work? Like a bicycle speedometer, a motorcycle speedometer measures how many revolutions or rotations of the wheel occur over a certain time period. But rather than measure revolutions per minute, RPM, like on a bike, it measures kilometers per hour, kf. Will a bicycle speedometer work on a motorcycle? The short answer is yes. A bicycle speedometer will work on a motorcycle, but there are some important differences to consider when choosing a speedometer for your bike. The differences include wheel size, wheel circumference, and the rotations per minute, RPM, of a motorcycle wheel. Number 1. Wheel size circumference. The first difference between a bicycle speedometer and a motorcycle speedometer is wheel size. While bicycles typically have wheels with a diameter of about 26 inches, motorcycles can have much larger wheels ranging from 16 to 28 inches in diameter. Since a bicycle's wheel size is much smaller than that of a motorcycle, the circumference or distance around the wheel will be shorter. This means that if you use a bicycle speedometer on your motorcycle, it may not give accurate measurements over longer distances. Number 2. RPM and revolutions per minute. The second major difference between a bicycle speedometer and a motorcycle speedometer is that motorcycles have higher RPMs or rotations per minute. The average road bike has an RPM of between 80 and 100. While the engine of a motorbike produces about twice this amount, 150–200. For this reason, using a bicycle speedometer on your motorcycle will provide inaccurate measurements because the wheel count will double. So if you're traveling at 100 kilometers per hour, kA, a bicycle speedometer will register it as 200 kA for 150 mph. For this reason, using a bicycle speedometer on your motorcycle is not ideal for measuring speeds over 450 pp. It's also important to realize that because motorbikes have higher RPMs, they can be more easily damaged if your speedometer is over-revving. Why would you want to use one on your motorcycle? There are a few reasons why you might want to use a bicycle speedometer on your motorcycle. 1. You're curious to see how fast you're going. Although motorcycles come with a speedometer that will give you a general idea of how fast you're going, they aren't always 100 accurate. This is especially true in the case of motorcycles with aftermarket wheels where the original equipment may not have been calibrated to match up perfectly. 2. You want a more affordable way to track your speed. If you want to use your smartphone's GPS to track your speed, you might find the cost of purchasing a product like this prohibitive. The cheapest ones are priced at about $20, while some high-quality models can run upwards of $100, not something everyone is willing to shell out for an experiment. 3. You want to use it for training purposes. If you're a bike enthusiast that does a lot of training, it's possible to monitor your speed and analyze results to see whether you need to increase or decrease the distance, speed, or time of your next workout. You can even use it when biking with friends to make sure everyone is going at roughly the same pace. That said, you can also get a relatively accurate reading on your motorcycle's speedometer by checking the displayed EMPs. If anything, this will at least give you an idea of how fast you're going in order to avoid getting speeding tickets. Pros and cons of installing a bicycle speedometer on your motorcycle. There are pros and cons to installing a bicycle speedometer on your motorcycle. Let's start with the pros. Inexpensive, easily available in multiple uses, training, tracking speed. Now let's talk about cons. Inaccurate at high speeds over 50 kf may damage motorcycle engine if RPMs are too high and may not be calibrated with the correct wheel size. Safety precautions to take when using the device. When using a bicycle speedometer on your motorcycle, it's important to take a few safety precautions. 1. Make sure the device is properly calibrated for your motorcycle's wheel size. This means that if you have a custom set of wheels, the bicycle speedometer may not be calibrated to give accurate measurements. 2. Do not rev the engine too high. If you're going over 50 kV, it's important to keep your RPMs below 2000. Otherwise, you could damage your motorcycle's engine. 3. Be aware of your surroundings. Just as with a regular speedometer, it's important to be aware of your surroundings when using a bicycle speedometer on your motorcycle. This is especially true if you're traveling at high speeds. 4. Follow the law. As with any type of speed measurement device, it's important to obey the law and drive safely. A bicycle speedometer is not a license to drive recklessly. How do I know if my bike has the right kind of handlebars for a speedometer? Most bicycle speedometers will require that your motorcycle have standard-sized handlebars. This means they're within 1 centimeter of 7/8 in width and 20/26/51 to 66 km in height. If you're not certain, look at the measurements of your handlebars and compare it with those listed on the speedometer's packaging or website. If they don't match, you may not be able to install the device on your motorcycle. In conclusion, using a bicycle speedometer on your motorcycle will provide inaccurate measurements because the wheel count will double. So if you're traveling at 100 kilometers per hour kAAQAA, a bicycle speedometer will register it as 200 kPa for 150 mpA. For this reason, it's important to only use a bicycle speedometer as a training or reference tool and not rely on its readings to make legal or safe decisions while driving. If you're looking for a more accurate way to measure your motorcycle's speed, it's best to consult your GPS.